Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are talking about one of the video basically that is city creation. In this basically we are talking about the 20% error basically which is already generated in the education. So just now basically we saw basically Sholay movie data basically that is 1 lakh people basically that has converted into the error now basically that has generated the negative energy in the environment, and the MBA, ME people, each and every people basically started spreading the negative energy. Why? Because the main data was generated into the negative energy. So just see basically one human souls basically of the Sholay movie it converted into negative energy. So like this basically Bollywood movies Bollywood people says that basically हमसे पंगा मत लेना भाई. So basically we have basically around 15 crore basically human souls basically in the environment, and 15 crore people basically are there in the as a created as a human also basically. If you will give trouble to us, then basically we are going to spread the negative energy basically, and that will create 15 crore basically. You can just imagine basically if basically it converted to some disease, new disease, then it will affect the entire world basically. So that's why basically government also don't interfere in the thing basically. Government also basically don't interfere, but the government should have the control basically. That basically government has not done basically. That basically government has not done. Due to that basically they have to play everything basically backside basically. They have to create lots of parties, they have to create lots of group, then only basically they can do their activities. Why? Because they have not taken the control basically of each and every people basically. But the everything is already done now basically. You can't do anything. The things is already created basically. Now you can't do anything. So like this Bollywood taken the control basically. That is of the environment basically. So if anybody is creating problem in the Bollywood, then basically they are going to do that negative energy basically, and that is going to create to the entire world basically. That is going to affect to the entire world. Like this basically the 20% energy basically, that is the study energy, comes to this also basically, because that Sholay movie generated 1 crore people basically. In 1 crore 5 lakh people are basically from MBA, 10 lakh people are basically from CA, 5 lakh people basically are from MTech, 2 lakh people basically are from BTech, 1 lakh people basically are from BE, 50,000 basically from MBA, 80,000 basically from MTech, and a few 2 to 3 lakh basically from B. So like this basically they have created the entire Bollywood basically, entire Bollywood industry basically they have created. So like this basically things are also basically there. So like this also basically things are basically there. So like this also basically things are there basically. So one of the person told that like this basically assume that basically this is just the earth planet basically, right? If this type of thing basically happens in the universe basically, then you can just imagine the things basically which is going to happen basically. So that type of thing will not work in the universe basically. They always keeps the control basically. Without their activation basically, not a single grass color basically can become brown. Not a single grass color basically can become brown basically. Up to that level basically they have kept the control basically. They have kept the control up to that level basically. So like this basically also things basically are there basically, that lots of people basically says that basically like these things basically are also there basically. So one of the person told that basically if you are basically the company owner, or basically you are the company CEO or the vice president or the software delivery head basically, you should have to keep the entire control basically. For example, you want to keep the control of one person basically, you should have to be, but control should not be harm to that person basically. You are not supposed to harm that person basically. Control means keeping the control basically, nothing else basically. But you can't harm the person basically. For example, you can't basically harm means for example he is in trouble basically, then you can't give the trouble to that person basically. You can't give the trouble to that person basically. Trouble means, for example, he basically done few bad to that company, he basically left, then basically he's not getting job, basically that type of activity you can't do basically. If you are doing, then basically you are only going to in trouble in future basically. You and your team only is going to get trouble in the future basically. That's why basically government what say, they most of basically clears the problem basically, because they know that one day basically the problem is going to come to them only basically. That's why they clear up each and every problems basically, whatever problem basically they comes, or basically they say that basically keep this problem as a pending basically. If it's a big issue basically, then basically keep this as a issue, keep this as a pending. If that pending is creating problem to the other parts, other group basically, then they can't keep the pending issue basically, then basically they have to create the solve the problem. This is basically the example basically. This happened to the due to the government basically, due to government groups basically, because government groups are controlling the resources, human resources, software companies, each and everything basically they are controlling. So the 50 crore people died due to government only basically. That also I can, that only basically I can say basically. 200 people basically error. This story basically is there in the one of the video basically. 200 people error basically. This story basically I have given the name basically. You can say this is one movie basically. This is comes to movie of half an hour basically. Not half an hour basically. It's a 1.5. That means it converts to movie basically. So you can give this movie title as a 20 people error. So this is basically converts into the movie name basically. 20 people's error. So that is the title of the movie, and that basically says lots of thing about the system of the government basically. What up to the government are basically, and what up to the government are supposed to be basically, and up to what level things basically are there basically. So like this, again back to the most dangerous topic, that is 11 parts. In 11 parts basically the Asian land basically is also one of the part basically. Asian land is also one of the part. So one of the person told that basically, he told literally he told that basically, if any of the big task the satellite groups are doing, they literally divide the land basically, right? For example, they are doing some task in the Karnataka, they are going to start some task in the Karnataka. So before doing the task basically, they will divide the land basically, divide the land between the Karnataka and I think Karnataka, that means Karnataka, Pune basically, Hyderabad, this all basically will gets divided basically. This all basically will gets divided basically. So like this basically one of the person told that this all are the basically parts basically which gets divides basically before they basically will start the new stuff basically. But few people says that basically satellite groups are up to that level planner basically, that they basically know that basically from this generation which is ongoing, what are the all tasks basically they have to take. So whenever they basically starts the world, that time only they divides each and everything basically. That time only basically they divides each and everything basically. So they basically know that from this generation basically up to what level task they have to take. So up to that level basically the satellite planners basically are. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about this 11 parts in detail basically.